Good morning. Good morning. It's Erica here from E2 Paper Crafts, coming to you live on this Friday morning. I have a fun fold for you, and I'm going to step it up a little bit. So this fun fold is absolutely perfect for a gift card holder, or perfect as a gift card holder. You'll see why in a moment. And then I'm going to step it up so that it's not only a gift card holder, but it's a real card that you can, stand up and display. So without further ado, I'm going to drop my camera down to my desktop. Please let me know in a comment if you enjoy my videos. And over on my YouTube channel, this is streaming live as well. And I would appreciate a thumbs up or any likes that you have. And if you have other paper crafters that you think would enjoy the tutorial that I'm giving today or any of my other tutorials, please pass that along with them. It kind of helps me with my channels. So welcome, welcome. Okay, let's pull down my other camera and I'm going to turn on some lights. So here's my desktop. We need a few lights and I'm going to bring my camera down a little bit closer and straighten it out. Okay, and turn on some lights. All right, let's see what's happening on my desk. Okay, so today I decided to use some designer series papers, one of my favorite papers, simply because two of my favorite colors are in it. This is Pretty Peacock. I've got the stamp sets here, Pretty Peacock, and I've got Lost Lagoon. I absolutely love these two colors. They pair beautifully together along with yellows. Okay, and then that's exactly what this paper is. This paper is called Everyday Happiness. So you can currently find this online, and it's just a beautiful set of papers. I'll just show you a couple of, there's 3 different patterns. So you get this beautiful plaid pattern, and on the other side is this. Now, this paper came out when the in colors from 2 years ago were still available. So if you happen to have this color Wild Wheat, this color is in here, along with Gray Granite, Mossy Meadow, Pecan Pie, and the base is Very Vanilla, as well as the Lost Lagoon and the Pretty Peacock. So those are the colors that are in this paper. So you've got this sheet of paper, and then you've got this sheet of paper that has some beautiful watercolors in there with some splatter. It's beautiful paper. And then this side is kind of like, looks like raindrops. They're little ovals, actually, not the shape of a little raindrop. And then the other paper you have is this one with flowers on it. This is absolutely stunning paper. And on the back, you've got this gorgeous stripe. So here you can see all of the colors in here. And you get, I think, 4 sheets of each in this pack. So you get 3 basic patterns, okay? Now, this stamp set coordinates with a stamp bundle. So this kind of came out as a scrapbook product. So this is the stamp set here, Everyday You and Me. And so these are the flowers here that you can coordinate with it. So you've got some really nice large greetings in here. And you've got the flowers and you've got the leaves and you've got a little bits of splatter here and there. So it's a really nice photopolymer stamp set with a set of dies that goes along with it. Okay, so you can cut out all of these flowers. There's 4 sizes of the flowers. And you've got the 4 sizes of dies, as well as you can cut out some of the leaves as well. So I really love this stamp set and this whole bundle. Okay, now this is the card we're going to be making. Let me just set this paper aside, out of the way. Okay, so this is the card we're making here. Okay, it's just a 1/4 sheet of cardstock. So you start off with a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch sheet of paper, of cardstock, and then you pick a designer series paper to coordinate with it. And you end up making this little pocket on the front of the card. Okay, so you've got the card base, you've got 2 little strips of paper here. These measure 1/2 inch by 4 inches, and it really is the reverse of this paper here. So when you're picking out your papers, you can use the reverse of what's on this main piece here, or you can use another coordinating color. And then this measures 3.5 by 3.5. And then we're going to use this punch called the Keeping Tabs punch. I love this punch. I use it for lots of purposes. I actually use it for putting on my designer series paper packs so that I can see which paper pack is which. So it's a great little punch. So we're going to use that. If you have any kind of a punch, even if you have a circle punch, you're just going to score it in half, and it can be used as a tab as well. Okay. And then the other stamp set that I'm using is one of my current favorites as well, is called Encircled with Love, because it has these circular greetings here. I love this. And it has a punch that goes with it. This is a 1 7/8 inch punch, so that you can punch all of these out. Okay. So today I'm going to focus on this as a gift card holder and a card all in one. Okay. And so I decided to use this stamp called A Little Something for You. And then I will put a gift card inside of it. Okay. So let's get started and show you how to make this. Okay. So again, you're going to start with you're going to start actually with a half sheet of cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. It's a regular card base. So you're going to score it in the middle at 5 1/2. And now you've got a full card rather than just a single quarter sheet of cardstock. And then for the pocket, you need a 4 by 12 piece of paper, 4 by 12. And you're going to score this in 2 places, 4 by 12. So you're going to score it at, you're going to score it at 4 8 inches, and whichever you want as the outside pattern on your pocket, you're going to turn that face up. So we're going to score this at 4 inches. And then I can just simply rotate it to 4 inches here rather than pulling out my arm on my trimmer. So I'm going to score this at 4 inches. So it's basically 4 8 or 4 inches from each end. Okay. And then we're going to cut off some pieces. So I like to fold and score this, and I want to make sure that my paper lines up on the edges here. Okay, so fold that over, grab your bone folder, and give this a burnish. Okay, and then you're going to fold over the other side, again making sure your edges are even. And I'm going to give that a bit of a fold. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to cut off 2 triangles. Now, when I did this other card, let me just show you. These are the scraps that you end up with. Okay, so when I cut this 4 by 12 piece, I ended up with these 2 triangles. So I can put this and make another card. So don't throw those away. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to cut from the score line at the top, from the score line down to the corner. Okay, so from the score line over here down to the corner. Okay, so you're going from the middle score lines down to the outside corners. So let me grab my trimmer. And when you're cutting this, pick the side that you can clearly see the score lines. Okay, so you're going to line up the score line right in the center of the track here. And then you're going to rotate your paper. So you have to do both at once, really. So you're going to line up the score line. And then you're going to line up this outer corner here at the point. See the point there? Right in the middle of the track. And then line up one. I usually put my finger right on that point, and then I'm going to pivot my cardstock or my paper to find that score line. So it's right there. Actually, if you have a hard time finding it, just take a pencil. You can always erase it afterwards, and just put a little pencil mark in there if that helps you. So again, the point in the track, and then pivot your paper until you get onto that other score line. Okay. Now, when you're cutting, bring your cutter down and put it somewhere in the middle of the paper and go up and then down. You definitely don't want to cut up through this corner here because it could kind of rip the paper. Okay, so there's the one triangle. And then I can just erase my little pencil mark. Okay, and I'm going to put another pencil mark over here. So if you don't have great lighting, a little pencil mark will help. So now we're going from, again, it's the top. So we're going from this score line and we're rotating our paper down to the point. So again, I can put my finger on that point and then just pivot my paper right there. And again, I'm bringing my blade to kind of the center of the paper and up and down. Okay. So now you have these two triangles and these are ready to be made into another card. I would do two different cards. And here's an idea for you. I would take a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of cardstock. So it could be white or it could be a matching color. Decide what side you want to use. Glue this down to the bottom left hand or the bottom right hand corner of that card, and then run it through an embossing folder. And there you've got a really fun pattern on the front of your card. Okay, so I'm going to set those aside. So now I already have 4 cards to make with those scraps. Okay, so we can put our trimmer away. And again, you can look in your scraps if you've been using the paper already, and you want to create 2 strips of paper. These measure 1/2 inch by 4 inch. So these can, oh, sorry, lost my camera again. Hang on, everyone. Hang on, everyone. Hang on, I'm still here. I'm sure you can hear me. I've got to do extra camera. Every now it just, I don't know why, but it cuts out. Okay, we're back. Okay. So let me just add to stage and zoom in. There we go. Good morning, Christine. Sorry, I just don't know why my camera cuts out every now and then, but never mind, we're back. All right, so I'm just going to erase my second pencil mark here. All right, so this is what we end up with. We end up with our little pocket. Now, my trimmer lately has been kind of just leaving a bit of an edge when I cut. I've been saying for months I need to put in a new blade, and I keep forgetting, but you can just use your bone folder and just flatten those edges if you feel that you've got, it's kind of like a little ridge on there. All right, so you want to make sure, again, in the beginning, you made sure that your edges lined up. So you're going to take your glue, take your Tombow glue, or whatever your liquid glue of choice is. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put a tiny bead of glue along the bottom here. Just a tiny bit of glue. And then you're going to fold over this piece here. Now, it doesn't matter which side you fold over first. It really doesn't matter. Okay, and now you're going to put glue on top of this piece. Just a fine line of glue. And then you're going to fold over this piece. Okay, and there's your pocket. Okay, there you go. All right, now I'm going to pull in my card base, and I decided to do, it's a landscape card, really. This is a landscape card. I suppose you could design it to make it a portrait style card. This would have to be more narrow, but you could certainly change the orientation of it. So this is my card base. So this is going to go into the center of the card. So it goes right in the center. And then these little strips here are going to go on either side. So kind of just take a look at it, try and get it centered. If you want to measure, you can. The card base is 5.5, so your center point is 2 3/4. So, and then the center of this is 2 inches. So if you want to put little tick marks in so that you can measure, but if you just place this on the card, you should get an idea of where to put this. So I'm going to put my strips, and I love using my grid paper. So I'm going to line up the right edge of my paper here. And then these are 1/8 of an inch, or sorry, I should say 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to go half of one of those squares, and I'm going to glue that on. Okay. So if you have our wonderful grid paper, I highly recommend it. You know, I write notes on it. I put measurements on it. You know, when you're doing stamping off, when you're wanting less ink on your stamp, you can just stamp it on the paper. And I love the grids. On one side, it's imperial measurements, and the other side is metric. Okay, so I've lined my paper up, and I'm just going to go half of one of those squares and put my, and with Tombow, you can move your paper. Okay, and then I'm going to do the other strip. I just love this paper so much. Now, you can buy the 12 by 12 pack of this paper, or you can buy another pack that is for, well, it's meant for scrapbooking, but it's got other elements in it. But so I'm going to order that because the elements are really nice. There's some little tags or strips or circles or whatever. Take a look at it online, and then you can add those to your cards. And I want more of this paper. Okay, so again, I've lined up my card onto the left side, and I'm going to just eyeball half of one of those squares and put my little strip in. Okay, and then this is going to go right in the center. So you're just going to glue this in. You could use your tape runner if you wanted to. But I like the wiggle. I love Tombow for its wiggle ability. Okay, and now I'm just going to center this between those two strips and line up the top and the bottom. And there you go. There's the main part of your card. Okay, so because I created this as a full card, I have a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of white. Now, the base color actually is very vanilla. So I think I might have a very vanilla-ish piece here. Yeah, I'd rather use very vanilla because it matches. So here's your very vanilla. So I'm going to put this on the inside. And then I'm going to, I'll grab another piece of very vanilla because I brought white out. Okay, so I need 3.5 by 3.5 inch for the inside of the card. Okay, so I've got another piece of very vanilla here. All right, so inside the card, I have another little strip of paper. So I might just decorate the right side of the strip here. Just add something else inside the card. So let's put a little piece of this in the card. So I've just put glue on the back of that. And then let's just put this in the card. Okay, and I might stamp a flower on the inside of the card. So let's grab my ink. I'm going to do Lost Lagoon for the flower and Pretty Peacock for the leaves. So I'll do a little flower down here. And then let's get out the Pretty Peacock. And do a leaf. Okay, So that is the inside of our card. And I will do the same thing on an envelope. Let me just grab an envelope. I have some same colored envelopes, very vanilla. So I should have done this at the same time. I try and remember to do when I do the inside of my card, then I do my envelope, and then it's done. So I'm going to do a little flower here, and then I'll do a leaf. Okay. So that is done. Now let's put this on the inside of our card. So I'm going to grab my silicone mat here, and I'm going to grab my tape runner. I use that silicone mat to get my tape started if it's not working. So you just run it a bit on the silicone mat. There we go. So this is going on the inside of my card. So think about Christmas time. If you do stocking stuffers, this card would be a fun thing to stick in the stocking with a nice gift card inside. Okay, so see, now we have a full card with this pocket thing. All right, now the pocket is 3.5 by 3.5. So I've got the very vanilla. So let me just cut this down. I already had the white prepared, but I've changed my mind. 3.5 by 3.5. Okay. And I just wanted to mention, so if you decide to do the quarter sheet of cardstock for this, then you can certainly put your message on the card. I would put the gift card on the front of this one, and I would just run some tear and tape on here and then just stick the card to it. And then on the reverse, you could put your greeting. Okay. Whereas on this card, you can put as much of a greeting inside as you want. Okay. So you could put the gift card on here, and even on the back, you could just, say happy birthday or whatever it is you want to say on there. Okay. Now to create the little tab at the top, you can use a piece of cardstock or just use a piece of the designer series paper. So hang on, let me just grab a piece. So I've got some scraps in here. Let me just put these other two sheets back in here. So when I'm using my paper, I like to put it in these little clear envelopes. I keep all my scraps in here. So to do the tab, you could either choose to do the flowers, or I might choose just to do this piece here that's got this kind of watercolored effect on here. And you're going to take your punch, and I'm going to go to this end where there's more color. And I'm going to punch that out. Okay, and then I'm just going to fold it over and just match up my edges, and then give it a squeeze at the top. Okay, and I'm just going to eyeball the center. Now, you see where you don't want it to stick out too much, so I'm only going to use the very top portion of the tab, just this top portion. So I'm lining up these top kind of dippy-doos here to the card. Okay, so I'm going to start by positioning it to the center of the card. This I find the fastest way to do it. So this looks pretty well the center of my card. If you want to measure, you can. but that looks pretty centered. So I get that lined up. Okay, then I put glue on this top piece. So hold that down so it doesn't move. I put glue on this top piece. Then I'm going to fold it over and just hold it for a bit. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it over and do the same. Put more glue on this piece and then fold it over. So there's your little tab piece. Okay, so my gift card would go on the front, whatever the side, they're both the same, so it doesn't matter. And then this would fit inside like this. Okay. Now, if you weren't going to do a gift card and it could just be a little message where they pull it up and you could say, you know, happy birthday on the front, do some more decorating on there, and then they can open up the card and then you would give whatever greeting or sentiment you want on the inside. So that's basically your card. So you can either do quarter sheet of cardstock with this cute little tab thing, or you can do a full sheet. Okay. Now on here, I want to stamp this. This is again from the Encircled with Love, and I'm going to do this in the dark Pretty Peacock on Very Vanilla. I'm just going to check that my punch fits this little strip of paper that I have here. So as I said, this is the 1 7/8 inch punch. I can just fit it on there. But the key will be to get this in the center, or just use a larger piece of paper. I think I'll do that just in case I don't center very well. I have another piece of Very Vanilla here rather than struggle. So I'm going to stamp that, a little something for you. And whoops, wrong punch. And then I'm going to punch this out. Now, if you have other circle punches, you might want to grab a larger punch. So for example, for this one, I could do a much smaller punch and then use this punch to do a border in, say, the Pretty Peacock. So you could do that. Let me just grab a punch and then I'll let you know what size it is. So let's go with a smaller punch. Might be able to use 1.5 inches. Or is that too small? Oh, it's perfect. For this particular stamp, not all the stamps will fit the same size punch because they're a little bit, or they might, I'm not sure. Anyway, this is 1.5 inches. And look at it, it's just perfect. So I'm going to punch that out. So that's 1.5 inches. And then I'm going to grab a piece of Pretty Peacock cardstock and make a frame for it. So here I've got a scrap. So this is the 1 7/8. And let's just punch a circle. Okay, and then I'm going to use a dimensional on here. And let's put this on. Okay. And then I'm going to glue this right here. So I'm going to put glue here. let's put this on top. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my Wink of Stella, and I think I want to color the ribbon. Let's give the ribbon a little bit of glitter. I love how fine tipped this glitter Wink of Stella is. There we go. Now you could add some embellishments on here if you wanted to. And there's your card. So pull out happy birthday, or I'd put the gift card on there. And it fits just, okay, I happen to have this scene card here. So it does fit with a tiny bit of a border on either side. So that works really well. And then tuck that in. And there's your card. I love it. I hope you love it too. Go ahead and make one. Share it with everybody. Sorry, I'm just moving some mess over here. Oh, and here's my envelope. I did make the envelope to go with it. All right. So thanks for joining me, Christine, this morning. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. It's Friday night. It's Friday night. I love Friday nights. I used to love Friday nights when I was working, but I love them even more now that I'm retired. I don't know why. It's my forced relaxation. So have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather. I'm going to head out for a bike ride this afternoon while it's so beautiful. And I will be back Monday for Mojo Monday. Thanks again. Love you guys. Bye.